and welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about my TBR for Lit with Indian Lit, or just generally the month of April. Lit with Indian Lit, if you do not know or you have not watched any of my videos, it is a month where, or just a readathon generally, where we read translated Indian literature, and I have put up a lot of videos explaining this, the fun games that we play with it, which you can check out, as well as a recommendations video where I give you 25 recommendations from A to Z. And why 25 and not 26? You can check out that video to know more details. But yeah, in this one, I want to just give you an understanding of what I may or may not be reading, and why I may or may not is because usually I stick to a TBR, but just given last month and just given my brain space, I feel like I need to be able to give myself some leeway. So in this video, I will be giving you like the tentatives, the maybes, the between this or this, I don't know. So that's what I'm going to do, because it feels like that sort of month, you know. But anyway, let's just get into it. I'm going to go through the books based on the prompts for Lit with Indian Lit. So as you know, the first prompt is to read any translated Indian book, and for that I have all of these. Okay, so I will talk to you about them. But the second one is to read a book from the south of India, and the first book that I have in mind for this is Four Strokes of Luck by Perumal Murugan. This is a short story collection by him, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. I really like him as a writer, and I'm hoping that I get to it this month, but let's see. The second book from the south that I hope to read is Uttarakanda or Uttarkand, I think. Yeah, I think that's the way it's said. Sorry. By S.L. Bhairappa, and this is translated from Kannada. And this is a look at the Ramayana, but from Sita's perspective. And yeah, just one second. Can we just look at this cover first of all? It's gorgeous, gorgeous. But anyway, it is from Sita's perspective, and what he does in this book is try to humanize the characters. And the Ramayana is just generally an epic that I am very intrigued by, and I think like our nation is intrigued by it. So I'm interested to see what sort of flavor he adds to the epic, and how it is different from any of the other books that I have read from Sita's perspective. So the next prompt is to read a book from the north, and for this I have quite a few, but the first book that I have in mind is Sufi Lyrics by Bulle Shah, and this is translated from Punjabi by Christopher Shackle. And this is a book by Bulle Shah, who is a Sufi poet, and he was like a mystic of sorts, and I have heard so much about him in general, but I've never like read his poetry or what he's had to say. He's kind of like Punjab's Rumi, if I have to really think of it. And of course, this is me talking from my ass. I really don't know much about him, but I hope to read this one. The only thing which I'm sad about is that I wish that we also got like the English version. Like these all have like the translations, but I wish that we also got to see what the original looked like, if not in like Punjabi, but like in the English version of that, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this is still a book that maybe I will like finger through. The next book I'm really hoping to read is this one, which is Masuma by Ismat Chugtai. Ismat Chugtai is from Uttarakhand, but she writes in Urdu, which is then translated to English by Tahira Naqvi. And this one is Masuma. It's about a young innocent girl from Hyderabad who comes to Bombay to try to break into stardom, and then the sort of exploitation and stuff that she goes through, and how she loses her innocence and stuff like that. But yeah, I've heard really good things about Isma Chukta, and I've never read a book by her, so I really think that this year is going to be like the year that I break that curse. Krishna Sobti, however, is an author who I have read and want to read more of. So this is a book called A Gujarati or A Gujarat there, translated by Daisy Rockwell, and this translation won an award last year, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember which award it was, but I will put it down here for your information. But this is like a fictionalized memoir of Krishna Sobti's life when she came to India after the partition from Pakistan, and how she was trying to make a living for herself, and how she became like sort of a governess or like a teacher for the Maharaja of some state, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I've heard really good things about this one, and it's been sitting on my TBR forever, so I hope to get to this one. The next prompt is to read a book from the West, and a book that I have here from Maharashtra is The Bombay Quartet by Dilip Chitre, and I just feel like I need to read more books from Maharashtra, or like from the Bombay perspective, I guess. And this is a collection of 4 novellas where he talks about various people's lives and how I think they sort of intersect. Again, I haven't really got it into it with great detail, but I've heard really good things about Dilip Chitre as an author, and I haven't really seen too many books by him around. So I hope to get to this one to kind of just see how he is as an author, and also just kind of see how he's portrayed the city that I live in. Another state in the west is Gujarat, and for that I have Ratnadholi by Dhumketu, and this is a collection of short stories by the author who is said to be a pioneer of short fiction from Gujarat. He basically writes a lot of short fiction from rural Gujarat in particular, because that he felt was a sort of place that wasn't really spoken about much in Gujarati literature. And I've heard really good things about this one, and I've been putting it off for a very long time, so maybe I'll get to this one as well. I don't know. And since we are done with North, South and West, we obviously move on to the East, and a state in the East, sort of kind of more central, is Chattisgarh, and for that I want to read Blue is Like Blue by Vinod Kumar Shukla, and this is a short story collection which I don't really know too much about, but all I know is that it says that it is about people who are smaller than life, and that's about it. But it is really well spoken about, and yeah, looks like a nice, sweet, nice read. Now, if we are to talk about books that have been on my shelf forever, then hi, welcome to Yajna Sani, which is the story of Draupadi by Pratibha Ray. This is a book translated from Odia, and I've heard so many amazing things about this one. I think I've had it for the last like 4+ years and haven't gotten to it, and I'm thinking maybe I'll get to it this time if I do like maybe a video where I talk about like this book and this book, because this one is Draupadi's perspective and this is Sita's perspective, and both of them are the main women in the 2 epics of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. I don't know, what do you think? Should I do this? But hey, if there is a book that I definitely will read because I've been putting it off for way too long, it is this one, which is Written in Tears by Arupa Patangya Kalita. And this is a book translated from Assamese, and it is a book about the Assamese life, but during a lot of conflict and what kind of took place during that time in Assam. And just no one says anything bad about this book. Like, everyone loves this book, so I need to read this book. Another book from the East, and in particular the Northeast, that I definitely want to read is this one, which is Laburnum for My Head by Temsula Au. Temsula Au is a very well respected author from Nagaland, and I definitely want to read this book. I want to read more from her. And this is a book which is actually written in English, which is perhaps the one way where you can read a book written in English and not translated, because what I did have and I have come to realize now is that certain states, for example Nagaland, they primarily only write in English, so their means of literature and the way that they write books is only in English, and there is no like translated books. I think I found only one book which was written in Nagamese, which is a mixture of Assamese and the Naga dialect. But apart from that, there's really nothing else. And if I want to read more books from the Northeast, then well, English is their language. So there I think are very few states which will count as lit with Indian lit points. But Nagaland, if you want to read from there, then you can read straight up in English and it not being a translation and stuff like that. And anyway, you know what I mean. If you have any questions about this, do let me know. If I am wrong about this, God, please let me know. I have spent weeks trying to like research this, but if I am wrong, please let me know. Right, and then we are done with like our regions. So now we move on to the other prompt, which is to read a non-fiction, and for that it also kind of corresponds to like East, and that is this one, which is An Educated Woman in Prostitution, translated from Bengali. And this is a book which is about like a memoir written in like the 30s about this educated woman who was who kind of eloped with this man, and then when she was pregnant, the man kind of like left her, so she decided to like, she had to make money and earn a living, so she had to turn to prostitution. And then she wrote this book, which is said to be not only her memoir but also like taken instances from other people's lives that are around her. And yeah, I've heard, I mean, I really want to read this one, so hopefully I get to this one soon. But yeah, but the other option that I have, which I've actually just started reading and I'm 2 chapters into, is this one, which is Dead Men Tell Tales by Dr. B. Uma Danathan. And this is this guy who was like this forensic surgeon, doctor sort of thingy. He was said to be the Sherlock of Kerala, where he helped solve a lot of like cases because of his forensic science knowledge. And yeah, I really just want to like read about this and know more about like his tales and his stories. And of course I've been watching a lot of Criminal Minds, so I feel like it all kind of like ties in, no? For the prompt of Dalit literature, I have one book, which is When I Hid My Caste by Babura Bagul, and this is again a collection of short stories translated by Jerry Pinto, written in Marathi, and again, good things about this one. Another one that I hope to read is Karaku by Bama, which is a memoir written by her. Bama is a Dalit Christian, and this book was the first ever memoir written by a Dalit woman. So yeah. Now the last prompt is a book written in the original language. So the book that I plan to read is this one, which is Dasta Hazar Din by my grand uncle. He wrote this book, and it is his journey from Pakistan to India after the partition, and it is a true story that took him 1,000 days to come from there to here, and it was a journey, and I want to know more about it, so I hope to read this one. I have tried to read this before. It is a little difficult for me to read because I don't know, I'm just not used to reading in Hindi anymore, I think. So yeah, so it's going to take me a bit of time, even though it's like this tiny. And another book that I have, which I have in English for now, but I'm thinking maybe I will read both, the one in English and the one in Hindi. And this one is A City Happens in Love, or the Hindi version is Ishq Mein Sheher Hona by Ravish Kumar. Ravish Kumar is a really famous journalist and brilliant writer, it seems, and this is translated by Akhil Katyal, who is a person who I also admire very much. So I'm thinking that maybe what I will do is I will read this and also the Hindi version at the same time, and then like kind of compare it or something, and maybe like my experience would be nice that way. I don't know, but I will find out. And those are all the books that I may or may not read this month. Do let me know if there are any books from this pile that you think that I definitely need to read, and if I don't read it, like, I'll be doing a major disservice to like my life. So yeah, because that's important to me. Apart from that, do let me know what you are planning to read in Lit with Indian Lit, and remember that if you are going to be posting about it on social media, then do use the hashtag Lit with Indian Lit, so that everyone kind of knows what you're up to, has an understanding of like new books that you might have in place, or like just generally any like reviews or anything like that. That would all just be great. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to engaging with you on this during this month, and I don't know, I will see you in my next video. Bye.